Welcome to a very special Memorial Day episode of Down the Lines. It is Monday, May 29th. As always, I am one of your hosts, Spencer.
And I am Tyler. And on today's episode of Down the Lines, we're going to continue talking about the LSU baseball team, the great weekend they had this week at the SEC tournament in Hoover, and the regional pairings just came out, so we're going to talk about that. And as always, we're going to finish with some bump and run.
What you'll notice before we head into the Tiger play, what you'll notice is the scenery is just a little bit different here on today's show.
Just a little bit.
We are very grateful to be welcomed by our grandmother in her home today. This show is actually powered by her world-famous cheese spaghetti.
Best in the world.
Best in the world. Can't be beat. And it's that's going to drive us through this Down the Lines today, just like the Tigers drove right through the SEC Baseball Tournament.
There's nothing that could stop them.
That was a good segue.
It was. I like that.
Yeah. So the SEC Baseball
Better
Tigers.
than all of mine.
Yeah, but you're historically bad at them. But LSU goes into Hoover, where Paul Mainieri has been very good his whole career.
Historically.
And they just keep the train going. LSU now 11 straight wins. They win all 4 games in Hoover to win the baseball tournament. That gives them 12 wins altogether, which is better than anyone else in the SEC.
Yeah, by far.
By far. We beat Missouri in the opening game. We rule Kentucky and South Carolina back-to-back. And then a really good game against Arkansas yesterday seals the deal and puts LSU really firmly into the national seed conversation, firmly into the regionals. 11 straight wins, all the momentum we need.
Yeah, it was a very competitive championship game. Mm-hmm. Can't say that much about the rest of the tournament.
No, you can't.
Most of the games that we didn't even play in, a lot of them weren't as competitive.
Arkansas beat Florida 16-0 to make it to the championship game.
And Florida before that beat Mississippi State 11-3, 12-3.
Yeah, there was not a whole lot of barn burners here. They were all pretty much routes. Until you get to the championship game. And
there was more 7-inning games than I can ever remember.
I thought it was the softball tournament.
I did too.
For a second.
Especially with run rules.
And with LSU winning, it's very easy to get confused.
Exactly.
So, but we do get the win over Arkansas. Paul Mainieri now a perfect 6-0 in an SEC tournament final games.
Yes.
He ties Skip Bertman for the number of SEC baseball tournament wins at 6, which is huge. You know, I talked a lot about on last week's show how unimportant the SEC baseball tournament was.
Wrong.
I stand by that, but the momentum surely doesn't hurt. And so we take that momentum into the regionals this weekend that just got announced this morning.
They did. They just got announced this morning. I would like to say that the tournament, it's as I talked about last week, how it's important to the players and to Paul Mainieri. Paul Mainieri said earlier today the last time LSU won the SEC regular season and tournament championship was in 2009, which, if you can remember, what happened?
Did we win a national championship that year?
I think that was the first year of the new Alex Box.
Yeah.
That was the first. That was the year after the 23.
We won.
I think we won.
We did. We won that year. So history. It would be awfully nice to repeat itself.
It would be.
Right.
It really would.
We're turning in the most complete performances that I've seen from this baseball team all year.
Which is not something you would have said a month and a half ago.
Well, they're 14-1 since the beginning of May.
Yeah.
14-1. And this tournament was a perfect example of that. You had scoreless games pitched with Lang and Poche.
Yes.
Walker gives up the only run for the starting pitching with a solo shot that meant nothing, really.
Yeah, in the long run.
So the bats come around. We ruled people. Arkansas was the only time we didn't score double digits. I would be afraid, if I was anyone else in the country, of this LSU baseball team moving forward.
I would be afraid because of how the pitching was, how well they were pitching during the whole weekend, especially from the first game when we didn't have one of our regular starters out there. He goes out there, gives us 5 innings, and then you come Lang, Poche, Walker. They continue pitching great as they have for most of the season. Each one of them have had their struggles, but with them all pitching well here, especially Lang, he's a dynamite arm. He could, with a couple more good performances, he can talk himself back into the top 10 of the MLB draft.
Do you think Eric Walker continuing to shatter expectations?
Yes.
They let him pitch 8 innings yesterday in what some think is a meaningless game. Do you think that's too much?
I I personally, I would say that would be too much. I mean, I don't know how many pitches he ended up pitching.
A ton.
But if you want to keep him fresh, I wouldn't have pitched him 8 innings. 6, your bullpen was pretty fresh. Let the bullpen get their work in too. Maneri, once he got into that situation, really wanted to win that game. Walker was his best option at the point, so he just stuck with the hot arm, especially with how well he's been pitching lately. I mean, he took a no-hitter into the 8th inning a couple weeks ago. It's something that you want to think about the next week, but while you're playing the game, you kind of get immersed in it, especially with a championship on the line.
It's no harm, no foul at this point, right? They get the win. Eric Walker's fine. We're moving on. The announcements were made this morning over the national seeding, the regional sites, all of that fun stuff. LSU, a number 4 overall national seed, and they get to host the regional. They will host Texas Southern, who is a hot 20-32.
Oh,
yeah, we got it. LSU draws the lucky straw there.
that's scary.
20-32 Texas Southern, but they did make the tournament. Anything is possible.
They did make the
So that's
tournament.
the number 4 seed in the Baton Rouge Regional. Number 2, we have Southeastern, who is very good out of the Southland Conference. And then we have Southeastern playing the Rice Owls at number 3 seed in the Baton Rouge Regional.
The Rice Owls were always a good team. Just they've been to many College World Series. They've played LSU very close in regionals in the World Series. It's a good program. They're having a couple down years, but they are playing hot late, which is what the Tigers are doing. And I mean, that's also what Texas Southern did. It's scary whenever you get to this time and you have a team that's hot and they have a bunch of momentum. They believe that they can win, and in baseball, anything can happen.
And it's a momentum game, right?
Right.
And with the tournament, momentum is key. But I think if you look across the country, I don't think anyone else has more momentum than LSU does.
No
so
way.
I would expect LSU to come out of this regional fairly easily.
Yeah.
I would hope so coming into this weekend. And they're paired up with the Hattiesburg Regional with Southern Miss as the number 1 seed over there.
Yeah, Southern Miss, that's a scary matchup right there. If you think about the last few times we have lost, it's been by a non-traditional powerhouse,
Right.
As in Coastal Carolina last year,
Stony
Brook. Teams like that just kind of come in. Nobody expects them to win, especially in Baton Rouge. You don't expect somebody like that to come in. Southern Miss team who is a respectable college, but not a national powerhouse, who's been to many Super Regionals, many College World Series. And so a team like that, if they've gone this far, if they're hosting a regional, they have good players on their team. They have a good coach. They had a good season. It's very, very scary. It should be a good weekend if both of the teams win their respective regionals.
So regional play first this weekend. Do you see any scenario where LSU, who's won 14 out of their last 15 games, where they don't come out of this weekend? Are you afraid that we peaked too early in the tournament?
I'm not afraid of them losing this weekend. We played Southeastern earlier in the year. We beat them pretty handedly. They didn't pitch their best pitcher against us, but we hit many of their good relieving arms. Then Texas Southern, I'm not really scared of Texas Southern. They came out of the SWAC, which is a lower degree in the conferences. And then Rice is scary, but it's not the Rice that they used to be. So I am not afraid of them getting through this regional pretty easily.
So we go to this weekend. We hope to get out of the regional alive and to face potentially a Southern Miss team out of Hattiesburg. But 14-1 last 15 games. It's time for June. It's time for the Tigers to take care of their postseason business. That sound, as usual, means it is time for the bump and run. We got a lot to talk about today, a lot of stories.
Good bit. Some breaking news.
Some breaking news from this morning. And it's with a heavy heart that I bring this up. Tiger Woods this morning arrested with a DUI in Jupiter, Florida, where he resides.
Jupiter, Florida, I've heard of that place before.
You have heard of that
I feel like some other breaking news came out of there.
In November 2009. It all sounds vaguely familiar. Tiger Woods, the mugshot came out. It's not pretty. Not that mugshots generally are.
Yeah.
But it looks probably exactly like you think it does. But Tiger Woods arrested DUI. if you is this it? Like should he stop trying?
I mean, he's got his money. If I was him, I'd stop.
I mean, at what point is it embarrassing to his legacy now? Like when I saw the news reports, it was Tiger Woods, golf legend, arrested with a DUI. No, not Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Soon to play in the U.S. Open. Not Tiger Woods, this past Masters winner. Tiger Woods, golf legend. Normally, when they say that, your career is over.
I mean, you wouldn't have thought that whenever the news came out years ago about the scandal and everything, and his marriage getting wrecked,
right,
that his entire life would spiral down. I mean, some people could have thought it could happen, but everyone wanted to give Tiger the benefit of the doubt. Everyone thought it's Tiger Woods. He made a mistake. He can come back from this.
Well, that's what we do. We want our heroes to be better.
Yeah.
We expect them to be better than the rest of us, so we give them that benefit of the doubt. Tiger Woods.
And we've given him the benefit of the doubt.
And here we are.
And again with all these injuries that keep popping up. And it's just something that now that his playing career looks to be that he might not ever get back on the field. And now this pops up.
I will be the last one in the bleachers cheering him on. Like, I will be that last one waiting until until they push me out. And it's like, it's time for you to go. His career is over. So this is sad. Do I see him coming back from it? No. But I'm still going to hold out hope. I feel like I have to.
Tiger Woods, me and you both love Tiger Woods.
That's it.
I mean, Sunday red.
I wear red to work every Sunday because of that.
Exactly. I wear red every time I go play golf.
I'm wearing red underwear right now.
I'm not.
I'm not. The point is, it's happening. So, Tiger Woods, we'll see. Tyler, it's your go.
So in some brighter news, the LSU softball team have punched their ticket to their third straight College World Series.
Back to back. Yeah.
And just a couple of things that I wanted to point out. First off, they played Florida State, who was 55-6.
That's
going into the regional.
It's not good enough.
They were 28-0 at home this year. They had a winning streak of over 30 at home dating back to last year. Of their 6 losses, 3 of them came from SEC teams, 3 different SEC teams.
Wow.
And so now of their 8 losses, 5 of them were from SEC teams.
So what does that tell you about the quality of the ACC in softball?
What I can tell you about the quality of the ACC in softball, the SEC has three teams going to the College World Series. Florida State ran through the ACC 27-0, didn't lose a game. Not a single ACC team is going to the College World Series.
Well, that says it. I mean, that says it. LSU puts the only ACC team out that had a chance.
Right.
And now 3 SEC teams in the College World Series. Back to back to back. Is this the time for the Tigers? They're always right there. They're always so close.
If there's anybody when they're backed into a corner, they play well. LSU in the last 3 seasons have won 15 games facing elimination. No other team has more than 8.
So maybe the point here is to not face elimination. If we can get to that point,
I'd like to run through a tournament. Maybe have that, play one game in the losers bracket.
It's hard.
After winning 3 or 4.
It's hard to come out that way.
It's hard to win 6, 7 games straight once you lose the first one. If we can win the first 2 or 3 games, if we can get to the championship, there is definitely a good chance with either Allie Wall-Jasper on the mound, Bailey Landry's bat, Emily Griggs has been on fire. If they can continue playing how they have since the start of the SEC tournament, kind of like this LSU baseball team has here lately.
It all sounds very familiar. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like a championship could be in their reach.
Just imagine at the end of June, LSU baseball and LSU softball champs. Wouldn't that be nice?
You know what? It would also be nice. Just a little add-on here. The LSU women's track team is sending 19 athletes to the championships next week, and they have a possibility of winning a championship as well.
Look, a little 2-for-1 bump and run from Tyler right there. Normally, I can only count on you for things like 100 years ago, but That's 2-for-1. Those are relevant. You're a different person. Good for you.
We should be in the Century all the time.
We're going to Mama's house every week. You're bringing out better from him than I've ever seen before. This is awesome. I'm going to keep the bump and run going with a streak that ended. You know, I generally talk about ending streaks, right? And this is one of them. The University of Miami.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they have made the NCAA Baseball Tournament every year for the last 44 years. They haven't missed one since 1972. This year, they go 31-27, and after this morning, it's official. They are not a part of the field of 64, and they do not make the NCAA tournament.
Miami, a team that you always feel is going to be really good.
They're always there.
Just like your LSUs, like your North Carolinas, your Texas, that just one of those historically great teams. That's a long streak to end. When I think of Miami baseball.
Well, you think of Miami baseball, the 44 years of NCAA tournament moments, there's one moment that sticks out for LSU fans.
Yes, and it is, for me, it is Alex Cora laying in the infield grass crying after Warren Morris hits the home run in the bottom of the ninth inning to propel LSU to their third World Series in the 90s, the third of 5 in 10 years. And it's
You
just
hate
real
to see
close to
streaks
home.
end.
I love it.
You hate to see streaks end.
Do.
But Miami, they were getting beat by better teams for the last 44 years, and finally that streak is over. So there you go.
It's so sad to see it over. So a streak that ends into a streak that's going to begin in Fenway Park.
Yes.
For the first time ever since its opening in 1912, which was, it opened the same week that the Titanic sank. Just a little, there's your travel back into history for you. Fenway
Park. This show feels normal again. Thanks.
Fenway Park, for the first time, will hold a marathon inside of the stadium. It will be the first Major League stadium to ever host a marathon inside. It'll have 50 participants. They'll run roughly 111 laps around the warning track. And it's just something different that they want to see how it does. It's going to benefit the Red Sox Foundation, and as many different marathons, it's going to be, something for a charitable cause.
Well, I'm telling you right now, that sounds like a great idea, but at some point, if they don't put little rocks on the Green Monster and make it a rock climbing event, then they're doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong. You need to do up and down the bleachers and then go rock climbing. I think that's how you make the best out of a marathon at Fenway.
So instead of marathon, we're going to CrossFit now?
I was thinking more like Ninja Warrior.
Oh.
From Fenway. It's got a ring to it.
I think next time, Ninja Warrior next year, American Ninja Warrior from Fenway Park.
You heard it here first on Down the Lines. We need to write this down, record this show, make sure we have it, so that we get all the royalties from this idea.
This is copyrighted. We came up with it.
So I've got another couple down the lines for you.
All right.
Bump and run. No, this is not the down the line segment. This is actually called the bump
Good
and run.
segue.
Yeah. I will come across this table. Scott Dixon. Yesterday.
Scott Dixon. Is he related to Richard?
He's not related to him. Scott Dixon was racing in the Indy 500.
Oh, yeah.
Just yesterday. And he crashed in what was one of the more magnificent and terrifying crashes I've ever seen. He flipped. There was fire. He went to the
airborne.
Fence. He flew into the fence. Yeah, that's what I said. I said there was air. The car landed on top of him. Eventually, it rolled over. He is totally fine. Completely fine. He tweeted about it yesterday while he was smiling, sitting on his couch.
Well, yeah.
He was like, I'm good.
That's what he does. They raced. So they're like, I'm going to do this dangerous thing. I'm going to do some flips, and then I'm going to
walk
picture.
Walk out just
later.
fine. The race eventually won by Takuma Sato. But Scott Dixon quoted afterwards when he was talking to the doctor, he said, "You believe in the safety progress of these cars." Well, you kind of have to, right?
I think from now on, I'm wearing my seatbelt. I might just actually get one of their harnesses and put it in my car for when I drive 55 down the highway.
When you watch this crash, you think there's no way this man's okay.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Yeah, I saw it, and it's like I am terrified for his life, and it's like you say he walks away without any scratches, without any bumps and bruises, and he's eating pizza on his couch later,
and he's ready to race next weekend.
Yeah.
incredible advancements in the safety technology with these vehicles. I just, you have to see it to believe it.
It makes you wonder if he's going to be like Ricky Bobby and think that he's on fire next week when he's trying to race.
I didn't wonder that because that's a fictional film. This is real life. This is serious.
But, it was based on reality, wasn't it? Like every film and the internet. It's all true.
What's your next bump and run?
So, another thing that I found on the internet.
Which makes it true.
If you haven't heard, there's this thing called the beer mile. Which, I don't know why I haven't joined this competition. You drink 4 beers and run 4 laps around the track, which is a mile in track, right? Yeah. So the way this event is held, you chug a beer, you run a lap, then you chug another beer, you run a lap. You do it 4 times. Whoever does it the fastest wins, as long as they don't, as long as they hold all the beer down.
I've heard of this before, but we just call it Hunt Family Christmas. I don't know. I've totally seen this before. But you can win this?
Yes, you can win. And there's actually a world record that's held by Corey Bellamore, who ran it in 4 minutes and 34 seconds.
Give him all the titles. He gets all the medals.
Give him everything. This should be in the Olympics.
Beer.
Is this going to be the next Olympics?
The beer mile?
I think it should be.
I think the Redneck Olympics. Or is that a thing?
I'm there.
Is that another idea we just came up with?
Should it be the Hunt Olympics instead?
We're a very wholesome American family. I'm not real sure what this guy's talking about. I'm going to take us off of that point, and I'm going to close us down with the NBA Finals.
All right.
We don't talk a whole lot about this. The playoffs have been going on. We haven't mentioned it a whole lot because
they've been
it's
terrible.
Been real boring. No one really cares. But we got the eventual finals matchup that we knew we were going to get. Warriors, Cavs, take 3, right? 3 years in a row during the finals. LeBron, his 7th straight trip to the NBA Finals. The Warriors won in 6 games in 2015. Mm-hmm. The Cavaliers won in 7, famously last year,
from
right?
3-1
from
down.
3-1. Who takes, and it starts this Thursday, who takes the NBA Finals this year?
With how much I hate to say it, the Warriors got their piece to get back to King James, and that would be Kevin Durant, who after losing a 3-1 lead to the Warriors, joined the enemy to beat the bigger enemy. He's going at the King, and when you go at the King, you can't miss. So
is that true?
If you miss,
did you see that on the internet?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh,
I heard it.
It's true. So you go at the King, you can't miss.
Right.
So you say Warriors, how many games?
I say Warriors. I say in 6. The Cleveland's going to get one. King James is King James for a reason. He's the best player on the face of the planet, and I mean he's been there 7 straight times. That's a record that there's only a few people who have done that, and they were on dynasties on the same team with the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. And Bill Russell was on that team, and
the Canadians in the 50s.
Yes, and it's
I think you play 95 games just about at this point to get to this stage. These teams will be up and ready to play. This is all they've wanted since last year. I think it's going to go 7 again. I think it's going to be an intense series. I think they want to prove that they're the better team. Mm-hmm. And I think the Warriors win in Game 7 and they get their vengeance from last year.
I just hope that it's not like last year whenever every game was decided by 30 points either way. Yeah. And I want to see some good games, so I actually watch one of them. Yeah, I hate every time you turned on a game in the playoffs this year. It's the Warriors are up by 30. The Spurs are up by 30. Cleveland's up by 29 in the first quarter. It's like how are you supposed to sit there and watch the rest of the game until you get an update and see, oh, it's a 10-point game in the fourth quarter finally, and then they end up winning by 20. So I'd like to see some good
It's a different
games.
league, and I don't know how long it's going to be until it changes.
Yeah.
But we have what we have, and I've got the Warriors in 7, and you got them in 6.
Yes.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's episode of Down the Lines. You can follow me on Twitter at Spencer Hunt.
You can follow me on Twitter at ThatBoyCleon.
Next week, we will talk about the regional action from Alex Box Stadium, hoping that the rain didn't affect it too much.
Right.
But we'll talk about that next week. We should still get it. We'll talk about that. We'll preview the Super Regional, hopefully that we're a part of. But we'll be back in the living room, probably. Back
most
at
likely.
the home studio, so to speak. So a huge shout out to Mama Hunt for letting us over here on Memorial Day. We hope you're celebrating the day with your families, and we'll catch you next week.
Down the lines.